This is the place where we take that absolute fire hose of information out there, all the articles, the studies, and we just distill it down for you.
Right into pure, actionable knowledge.
Exactly. So you can become incredibly well-informed without having to scroll endlessly.
Yeah.
And today we are strapping in for a deep dive into, well, one of the most high-stakes and confusing arenas of modern life.
Dating communication in English.
You got it.
And this really isn't just a language lesson. Think of it more as a cultural fluency masterclass.
That's a great way to put it.
Our sources today are basically a modern social survival guide. It's for anyone trying to navigate flirting, first dates, and, the really tricky waters of defining a relationship.
Rules haven't just changed, have they? It feels like they multiply every single day with new slang, new emoji interpretations.
Oh, constantly.
So we've pulled together a fantastic stack of source material that really acts as a practical manual, a blueprint for the verbal and digital gymnastics you need in modern romance.
And our mission today is to pull out the most essential phrases, the unspoken rules of etiquette, and the cultural context you just have to know.
The goal for you listening is complete preparation. We want you to feel informed, equipped to handle pretty much any social scenario.
From crafting that perfect opening line all the way to, say, gracefully handling a disagreement over the dinner bill.
All while avoiding that information overload you get when you try to read every piece of dating advice out there.
Exactly.
Because that feeling of being overwhelmed by what to say or, what not to say, that can paralyze you. It can derail a genuine connection before you even order a drink.
We're aiming for competence and confidence.
Right.
And that leads us straight to this core tension we saw running through all our sources. Modern dating, it feels like it exists on a tightrope.
How so?
Well, on one side, you have this desire for a genuine, authentic connection, the romantic ideal.
Okay.
But on the other side, you've got this widespread use of wit, humor, irony, even intentional cheesiness. And these are used as social tools.
Tools to do what?
To filter out people who aren't compatible, or honestly to protect yourself from being too vulnerable too soon.
So it's that challenge of trying to seem genuinely interested and charming, but at the same time, you're showing you don't take yourself too seriously.
You're walking that line between being self-aware and, accidentally cringy.
Okay, let's unpack that balance. Let's start right at the very beginning. The art of the approach.
Let's do it.
We're going to begin with compliments.
It seems so simple, right? Just say something nice.
You'd think so.
But our sources are emphatic. There is a huge gulf between a compliment that works, that opens a door, and one that just comes on way too strong.
Or is just presumptive or, completely generic. The difference is all in the focus.
The focus.
Yeah. A compliment that lands focuses on the positive effect a person has on their actions, their personality. The ones that fail, they usually jump straight to some big non-specific judgment about physical appearance.
And that feels, undeserved in an opening line?
Undeserved, objectifying, yeah, all of the above. Okay, let's get concrete. Give us the contrast from the source material. What's the phrase that works and what's the one that's an immediate red flag?
The shining example of an effective compliment is, your smile is contagious.
Your smile is contagious.
Okay. Now let's really break down the power in those 4 words. It works because it's not judging their features in a vacuum. It's commenting on an observable, shared, positive emotional experience.
So you're not saying you have nice teeth or a pretty mouth.
No, exactly.
You're saying, when you smile, I feel happy, and I'm acknowledging that positive energy. It's about their impact.
Precisely. It's low pressure, it's affirming, and it points to a shared experience, contagious happiness. This makes it a really easy compliment to receive because it's about their vitality, not just their static appearance.
It lets the other person feel good about how they make others feel.
Which is a very powerful psychological incentive.
Okay, so what's the phrase we need to avoid, like the plague as an opener?
The consensus is to avoid openers like, hey, beautiful.
The classic.
It fails on so many levels. First, it's totally generic. You could send that to literally anyone. It just signals low effort.
Right.
But more critically, it's a huge judgment call on their attractiveness right out of the gate.
And why is that a problem so early on? I mean, isn't that the whole point of flirting, showing you're attracted to them?
It is the point of attraction, but it skips all the necessary social steps that make flirting feel comfortable.
Okay.
By just asserting, hey, beautiful, you're making this high intimacy statement that you haven't earned yet through any kind of conversation. It's all about physical attraction without showing any interest in who they actually are.
So it sounds canned, it lacks sincerity, and because it's so generic, it kind of signals that you see them as a type, not a person.
That lack of personalization is the absolute killer. It creates an immediate barrier, which is funny because the goal is to open a channel, not close one.
You're starting from a place of physical demand, not curiosity.
And the guard goes right up.
Yeah.
It's a very, very common mistake.
So if those generic compliments are out, we need to talk about approaches that prove we've actually been paying attention.
Which brings us to personalized openers.
And their strategic value.
This is just non-negotiable in the modern dating world, especially online, where profiles are basically curated little resumes of people's interests.
And ignoring that data is a huge mistake.
A major error, yeah.
Our sources gave a really great example of a high-effort, personalized approach. It was, I loved your hiking photo. Where was that?
That simple question is a masterclass. It works for 3 very specific reasons.
Okay, what are they?
First, it's proof of effort. You actually looked at their profile. You didn't just swipe based on the first picture.
Did the work.
Second, it shows attention to detail. You noticed a specific hobby, a specific moment.
And the third reason,
it creates an immediate, real point of conversation that lets the person tell a story. You're starting a dialogue about a shared interest, or at least an interest they have, and you're inviting them to talk about an experience.
which reveals so much more personality than answering a simple yes or no question.
Exactly. Now they get to tell you about the hike, where it was, why they were there. It moves the conversation from awkward opener to storytelling.
Which is the fastest way to build a real connection.
Contrast that with the cringy opener we're told to avoid, like never open with "hey sexy." The moment you personalize it, mentioning the hike or a book they listed or a band,
You completely eliminate that risk of sounding like a low-effort troll.
personalization is the antidote. It signals you're interested in their life, their story, not just their picture.
Right. Low-effort lines communicate that you're probably low-effort in general.
And in a competitive dating world, that's an immediate filter for the person on the receiving end.
Okay, let's pivot a little. Let's talk about strategy and self-defense, almost. People using wit or sarcasm in their profiles to filter matches.
This is where that core tension we talked about, humor versus romance, really plays out. The source gave a perfect example.
Which was?
A Tinder bio that says, fluent in sarcasm and dad jokes.
I have definitely seen that bio or a version of it 100 times. I'd either groan and swipe left or I'd be immediately intrigued.
Exactly.
So why is that so effective for some people?
Yeah.
What's the real goal of leading with your most potentially annoying personality trait?
The goal, as the material points out, is to weed out the boring people.
Yeah.
It's an aggressive, proactive social filter.
So you're setting a high bar for compatibility right up front.
You are. You're demanding a specific style of communication, wit, irony, dry humor. If someone replies with a really literal or generic compliment, they've already failed the test.
It's an intellectual pre-qualifier.
Precisely. You're basically saying, my communication style is complex, and if you don't get sarcasm, we're not going to get along, so let's just save each other some time.
It's efficiency disguised as humor.
It is. And it also gives you permission to keep that level of banter going. If they open with a sarcastic comment, you've been warned. It manages expectations perfectly.
It prevents misinterpretation.
And that filtering, even if it feels a little aggressive, is often preferred by people who value quick, clear communication over, long, drawn-out testing phases. It's a sign you know what you want.
So, just to ground this, what's a representative dad joke that would signal this kind of intent?
Oh, something intentionally groan-worthy, like, I'm reading a book about anti-gravity, it's impossible to put down.
Okay, that's pretty bad.
It's awful. But the humor isn't in the line itself, it's in the self-awareness that it's terrible. If you reply, haha, that's awful, I love it, you pass.
But if you reply, why are you reading about anti-gravity?
You just don't get it. And the system works. The willingness to be silly and confident about it is the key.
It's a sign of self-assured communication.
The ultimate sign.
Okay, let's flip the script. Not every approach is going to work. We have to talk about how to communicate when things don't work out.
Handling rejection gracefully. Giving it and receiving it.
It's a huge sign of emotional maturity.
Absolutely. Having prepared language for rejection is so important because it just minimizes social friction. Clarity is kindness here.
Our materials gave a specific phrase for gentle rejection. You're sweet, but I'm not interested. Walk us through why that works so well.
That phrase is just genius in its precision. It does two critical things.
Okay.
The first part, you're sweet, is clear affirmation. It validates their character, their good intentions. It softens the blow by saying the problem isn't their worth as a person.
So it separates their character from the lack of connection. It's not a criticism of them.
Exactly. It's about the dynamic. Then the second half, but I'm not interested, is the vital part. It's a clear boundary.
No ambiguity. No, I'm busy or maybe some other time.
None of that. It's direct, it's firm, and it's respectful. It eliminates that painful limbo where the person might hold out hope because you gave them a vague excuse.
The phrase, I'm not interested, just stops the pursuit immediately and respectfully.
That's the power of clarity. The lesson for you listening is, don't use gentle excuses when a firm, kind boundary is what's needed.
And if you're on the receiving end, you recognize the compliment, you accept the lack of connection, and you move on gracefully.
The highest form of social grace in modern dating.
Okay, now for the playful side. Let's analyze flirty phrases and the difference between, intentional, self-aware cheese and just genuinely awful lines.
The roast concept.
Exactly.
Intentional cheesiness is a staple of good flirting, but the delivery has to be perfect. The line between playful and pathetic is, it's tissue thin.
So let's analyze the phrase they gave. Are you magician? Because time stops when I look at you.
Its effectiveness hangs entirely on the fact that it is so ridiculously over the top that both people know it's a performance.
It's hyperbole maxed out.
Right. The sender is signaling confidence, playfulness, and a willingness to just embrace the absurdity of it all. They're saying, I know this is silly, but I'm confident enough to say it, and I want to see if you're fun enough to play along.
It's an invitation to a game.
It is.
Yeah.
Now, the delivery is everything. If you say that line while leaning in, staring intensely with no smile,
it's instantly creepy.
Instantly. Because the self-awareness is gone, now you're treating it like serious poetry, and the other person just cringes because they realize you don't get the joke.
The failure isn't in the line, it's in the delivery.
Exactly. And that's different from the truly awful lines you should avoid. Those are lines that are just unoriginal. Or worse, they try to sexualize things immediately without any rapport.
So the takeaway from the approach phase seems clear.
High effort, highly personalized, and if you go for humor, make sure it's delivered with confident self-awareness.
That's the formula. Now that we know how to start things and how to end them, let's move into the pressure cooker of the first date itself.
The gauntlet.
The first date. You need conversational tools that cut through the small talk and get to a real connection. We need icebreakers that encourage stories.
We have to get past the predictable stuff. What do you do? Where do you live? We need open-ended questions.
The source material gave a really simple but effective one. So, how'd you end up in City?
That question is conversational gold. It taps directly into a person's life story and their motivations.
Right. Nobody just appears in a city. There's always a reason.
A career, escaping something, family, a random decision. The journey reveals so much more than just the destination. It forces them to share a bit of your autobiography.
And it gives you immediate context. You can follow up with real questions like, wow, that sounds like a big move. What was the biggest surprise when you got here?
And that elevates the conversation right out of the superficial. You're showing you're curious about their past decisions, not just their current stats.
It's so much better than where are you from, which just gets your geographical fact. Texas. End of story.
How did you end up here? Asks about the journey. It's a great tool for building rapport.
Okay, but even with the best icebreakers, there's always the specter of the awkward silence. That lull where panic just sets in.
The universal anxiety. The goal isn't to prevent it entirely. Silence can be fine. But to have a graceful way to manage it and reset the flow.
And the sources offered a specific coping mechanism for this.
Acknowledging the shared environment, for example. Wow!
This music is loud, huh?
Why does that work? It's low risk, and it uses the immediate shared reality to diffuse the tension. You're commenting on something external, which implicitly acknowledges the awkwardness without having to say, wow, this is awkward.
It gives both of you a little mental break. You don't have to scramble for a deep question. You can just agree about the music.
It's a conversational circuit breaker, but the key is the pivot. You can't stop there.
Right, you have to transition back. So how do you do that elegantly?
You leverage the comment. You both agree the music is loud. Then you can say, yeah, maybe we should have picked a quieter spot. What's your go-to place in the city when you need to just read or think?
Oh, that's good, linking it to a preference.
Or you question the environment itself. I wonder if this is intentional to get people to order more drinks. Speaking of which, what's your favorite cocktail?
Or just link it back to what you were talking about before. Anyway, sorry, the music is distracting. You were telling me about your trip to...
That's it. It buys you time and smooths over the friction.
Okay, now for the part of the date that is maybe the most stressful and culturally loaded moment of all.
Paying the bill.
This moment pits all kinds of expectations against each other.
It's a huge topic, and the source material really stresses that the main factor here is cultural differences. The question, should we split it, means totally different things depending on the context.
There's no single right answer, is there?
No, just awareness.
So let's analyze what suggesting to split the bill communicates, say, in a more progressive urban environment.
In those contexts, it often signals independence and practicality. You're making it clear you're not looking for a transactional thing, and you don't feel obligated to them just because they paid.
It can also be a subtle way to signal non-commitment, like, this was nice, but I don't want you to have any expectations just because you bought me dinner.
That financial cleanliness is key for boundaries, but this is where the cultural awareness comes in. Imagine you're on a date with someone from a more traditional culture.
where the person who initiated is expected to pay to show intent.
Exactly. In that context, insisting on splitting it might be taken as a slight or even a rejection of their attempt to court you. For them, paying is an act of respect and generosity.
So you could accidentally offend them by trying to be independent.
You absolutely could.
So, listener needs a script. What's the default strategy when the bill comes?
The safest and most polite strategy is always to offer. When the bill arrives, reach for it and say something casual but sincere, like, let me get my share, or let me get this.
And then you just see what they do.
You see what they do. It starts the little offer and insist stance. If they politely but firmly insist on paying, you graciously accept and say, thank you, that's very kind, I'll get the next one.
Which nicely sets up the idea of a second date.
Exactly. And if they accept your offer to split, you respect their independence. The takeaway is that this moment is a negotiation of social expectations. It's a little stress test.
And just knowing there isn't one right answer is the most informed position to be in.
It is.
Okay, let's move on to analyzing date dynamics. The sources said learning what not to do is often more powerful than learning what to do.
The power of negative reinforcement. When we look at first date horror stories, we're not just gossiping, we're doing practical social analysis to see where communication breaks down.
How does analyzing a failure help solidify a best practice?
Okay, take a common horror story. They spent the whole date on their phone.
Ugh, the worst.
Right? By analyzing that, you instantly solidify a rule. Be present. Put your phone away. Make eye contact. That story reinforces that baseline of respect.
Or if a story is about someone being super negative or rude to the waiter.
You learn that basic empathy and positivity are essential. The horror stories are cautionary tales that clarify the rules of engagement. It ensures you don't just know the right phrases, you understand the right behaviors.
It's practical, real-world learning.
And that takes us from the first date into the most modern dilemma of all, digital communication and defining a relationship.
Digital communication has revolutionized dating, but it has brought so much potential for misinterpretation. We have to talk about low-effort texting.
We're in the realm of pet peeves that punch way above their weight, and the source material highlighted a big one. Why do you text K instead of OK?
It's just one letter. Why does the lack of that one letter carry so much passive-aggressive weight?
Because texting, as we said, operates on a psychological contract. Perceived effort equals emotional investment.
Right.
So when someone chooses the absolute minimum effort possible, K, it signals dismissiveness. Okay or okay signals completion, neutrality, basic politeness.
Let's really spell out the psychological impact. If I send a detailed, vulnerable message like, I had a really tough day but I'm looking forward to Friday, and the reply is just K.
The message you receive is coldness, abruptness. It says, I acknowledge your words, but I will spend zero energy validating your emotions.
It makes you feel minimized, devalued.
It creates friction immediately. So the advice for you listening is clear. In early dating, you want to build warmth. Aggressive shorthand is toxic to that goal.
Is there ever a time when K is acceptable?
That's a great question. Yes, but it's a very narrow edge case.
Okay.
When it's purely administrative and it ends a long thread that has already established warmth and commitment, like see you at 12:30, K can work there.
But in response to anything vulnerable or emotional?
It's a clear failure. So if in doubt, always use OK.
A simple, actionable rule. Next, the emoji minefield.
Oh boy.
They're essential for tone, but they can be disastrous. We need to analyze the eyes emoji, the and figure out the tipping point. Is it flirty or is it creepy?
The ambiguity of the is what makes it so powerful and so risky. It all depends on three things: context, frequency, and the relationship stage.
Okay, let's start with context. Give us an example.
If the conversation is light and playful, like someone posts a picture of a meal and says, "Bet you didn't think I could cook," and you reply with, that's flirty. It's playful.
Yeah, see you.
Exactly. But if they share something serious, like, "I'm worried about my presentation tomorrow," and you reply with, "Oh," suddenly it feels like surveillance. It's weird. It's creepy.
And frequency seems obvious. Overuse kills.
It transitions from playful interest to aggressive surveillance. If you're using it on every single post and comment, it's a red flag for obsession.
And finally, relationship stage. This seems like the most important one.
It is. Something that's flirty early on can become creepy if the relationship hasn't progressed. If you've only had one date and they're pulling back a bit, a barrage of "oh" feels demanding and aggressive.
The emoji is supposed to underscore interest, not demand it.
That's a perfect way to put it. The lesson is, digital subtlety requires nuance. If the relationship status is unclear or the topic is serious, just use words.
If you have to stop and think about whether it's creepy.
Don't use the emoji.
So once you've navigated that, you reach this critical point where assumptions have to be replaced with facts.
The transition to commitment. Direct language is everything here. You're leaving the ambiguity of casual dating behind.
This is the DTR, the defining the relationship talk.
And it is born out of the modern acceptance of dating multiple people at once.
We're focusing on that crucial question from the sources: are we exclusive?
That is the language of clarity and integrity. You're asking for a clear statement of intent, clear expectations. You're moving from options are open to a dedicated commitment.
Why is that question so necessary? Can't you just assume you're exclusive after a few weeks?
Assuming commitment is the #1 cause of heartache in modern dating.
Wow.
People project their desires onto their partners. That question protects both of you. It forces the other person to state their intent clearly, which prevents future disappointment based on misaligned assumptions.
And if they say no, then you have the answer you need to make an informed decision.
It is the verbal handshake of emotional commitment. It's professional level relationship management.
And just having the confidence to ask that question is a sign of maturity in itself.
A huge sign.
Okay, to truly master this, you have to know the vocabulary for bad behavior and social dynamics.
These terms are so important because they validate shared experiences. When you can name a behavior, you gain power over it.
And we start with the most infamous term of the last decade: ghosting.
Ghosting. It's the abrupt ending of all communication without any explanation. Ceasing texts, calls, maybe even blocking someone. Just vanishing.
We all know the definition, but let's analyze the psychological toll it takes. That's why the term caught on so widely.
The term became necessary because the ease of digital communication makes the complete absence of it so cruel. Ghosting denies the person closure, which is psychologically damaging.
You're just left with this crippling uncertainty. Did I do something? Are they okay?
And that leads to self-blame. The ghoster, with technology, basically transfers all the emotional pain onto the other person, which is just an act of emotional cowardice.
So the term validates the recipient's pain. It says, this is about their lack of courage, not your lack of worth. Now, here's a challenging question. Is there ever a scenario where ghosting is the necessary or safest option?
That's an excellent point, and the sources are clear on this. If someone is engaging in harassment, being aggressive, or expressing threatening intent, then immediate and total ghosting.
It's no longer poor etiquette.
It becomes necessary self-protection. In those safety-first scenarios, you don't owe them clarity, you owe yourself safety. But that's the only exception.
That's a really vital nuance. Next up, breadcrumbing.
breadcrumbing, sending sporadic, low-effort, non-committal messages, just enough to keep someone's interest without any real intent.
Leaving little crumbs to keep them on the hook.
That's exactly it. You're starving but not entirely gone. It usually looks like a high flattery message mixed with really low frequency contact.
Like liking an old Instagram story or sending a thinking of you text, but then ignoring any attempt to make a plan.
High validation, low commitment.
And why do people do this? What's the motive?
It's all about keeping options open and seeking validation without having to invest emotionally. The breadcrumber wants that ego boost of knowing they're still desired.
It's emotionally selfish.
Very. If the communication never moves from a fleeting compliment to a confirmed plan in a reasonable amount of time, you are probably being breadcrumbed.
So recognize the minimal effort and protect your own time.
Absolutely.
Finally, a term that defines a seasonal shift in dating intent. Cuffing season.
Cupping season refers to that period from late fall through the winter months. It's when people are psychologically more inclined to find a serious, comfortable, committed relationship.
I want to be cuffed too for the holiday.
And for warmth and domesticity, yeah. It highlights how much external pressures affect our dating choices.
The weather gets cold, the holidays bring pressure to have a +1 for family events.
Exactly. It acknowledges that sometimes the motivation for commitment is seasonal and pragmatic, not purely about long-term romantic alignment.
So if I start dating someone intensely in late October,
The concept encourages you to be a little critical about the timing. Spark might be genuine, but it could also be circumstantial comfort. You need that DTR conversation to figure out if the intent is seasonal or long-term.
it's a vital term for managing expectations during the holiday rush.
It really is.
That was an essential deep dive into the language of modern dating. To just synthesize the key takeaways for you, we established a few non-negotiable rules.
First, personalize everything. Generic compliments, low-effort openers, they're seen as insincere. Focus on their positive impact, show you read their profile.
Second, be acutely aware of cultural context, especially around friction points like paying the bill. Your approach communicates independence or traditional intent, and the right way is always situational.
And third, you have to master the modern vocabulary. Understand the negative weight of shorthand like K, and the difference between honest language like "are we exclusive?" and manipulative behavior like ghosting and breadcrumbing.
So we've armed you with the vocabulary, but what's the ultimate goal here?
The ultimate goal is always authentic connection. The language is just a tool. The confidence, the humor, the personalized interest, they only work if they're containers for genuine sincerity.
So you have to use these phrases effectively, but match that confidence with vulnerability and honesty.
That translation from competence into genuine human connection, that's the real test.
It absolutely is.
It is.
Now, for our final provocative thought for you to chew on, we spent a lot of time analyzing the rapid evolution of digital communication, the meaning of K, the interpretation of an emoji, the need for new terms like ghosting.
It's in a constant state of flux.
Exactly. So, given that meanings change weekly and slang is so ephemeral, is the language of modern romance becoming fundamentally more fleeting and temporary than communication used to be? Or is it just a new, more complex layer of social fluency that requires constant updating, but ultimately serves the same age-old human purpose of seeking stable, long-term connection?
Think about the longevity of the phrases you just learned as you log off tonight.
We'll see you next time for the next deep dive.